Eli Samuel Parker was born Ha-So-Nwanda, which translates to the name that leads, in 1828 to William and Elizabeth Parker, who belonged to the Tonawand band of the Seneca tribe. His father was a minister, and both his parents supported his education. He attended missionary school and learned English, and went on to train as a lawyer as well as an engineer. He was not admitted at the time to take the bar exam to become a lawyer because he was Native American and thus not considered a U.S. citizen. The picture on the left is of him and his teenage daughter. Not being able to take the bar exam did not stop Eli Parker. He had a very long career full of accomplishments. He went on to become an engineer and worked on the construction of canals. He was an adept interpreter and diplomat. And Eli was also on Ulysses Grant's personal staff during the Civil War and was the first Native American to hold office when Grant appointed him as the Commissioner of Indian Affairs. Eli married later in life to a much younger white woman and had one daughter. He worked as an engineer with the New York City Police Department until he passed away at the age of 67 in 1895. It's very difficult to find pictures of Eli, so the pictures that I have, of course, are really old and downloaded from the internet, so they're a little fuzzy, and I apologize. But the one on the left is of Ulysses Grant's cabinet, and the far left is Eli Parker. Eli Parker was a member of the Tonawand band of the Seneca tribe. As you can see on the map here, the Seneca Nation of Indians currently has 5 reservations in western New York. One in Niagara, Buffalo Creek, Oil Spring, Allegheny, and then Cattaraugus, which I know that I'm pronouncing incorrectly, close to Lake Erie. The Seneca were called the Keeper of the Western Door because their tribe was the westernmost of the 6 member nations. They were also the largest tribe of the member nations. The tribe now has approximately 8,000 tribal members, of which about 4,000 live in the 5 reservations. In the past, they maintained permanent village sites, and they lived in longhouses. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get a picture of a longhouse to put into the presentation, but they're really interesting, kind of communal homes is what it looks like to me. They're proud to be the 5th largest employer. Now, currently, they're proud to be the 5th largest employer in Western New York. They run a casino, the Seneca Energy Company, a radio station, a gas station, and then they have a private holding firm that they run as well. The Seneca Nation is comprised of 8 different clans. These clans are split between the bird and the animal clan. I found it interesting that the deer was included in the bird clan rather, but I couldn't find any information about why that was. I'd probably need to do a little bit more research to figure that out, but I thought it was interesting. The children are born into a clan based on the clan that their mother was from. So women are highly revered in the Seneca culture, and children derive their lineage from their mother's clan. Eli was from the Wolf clan. Oftentimes, Seneca children would spend the most time with their oldest uncle on their mother's side, probably even more so than they would spend with their biological father, because their biological father was not considered part of their clan. He was from a different clan, his mother's clan. I found that to be kind of interesting as well. So Eli was from the Tonawand band of Seneca, which did eventually split from the main Seneca tribe over a dispute about the form of government that they would employ. It was late 1838. I don't remember off the top of my head, but there was some dispute about that because the Seneca were going to form their government similar to the U.S. government, and the Tonawand did not want that. They preferred a traditional form of government, and they went on to be a federally recognized tribe in 1857. So the Tonawand band tribe, is much smaller than the Seneca tribe. The Seneca tribe, I think, like I mentioned, has about 8,000 tribal members, 4,000 living on the 5 reservations. The Tonawand band is significantly smaller. It has 1,200 tribal members, and only 483, that was based on the last census, live on the reservation. So it's considerably smaller. Their reservation is near Akron, New York. So on the map that I showed previously, it's a little bit to the right of that, more towards the middle of New York, although it is still in Western New York. They're not as successful as the Seneca band as far as holdings. I couldn't find much on that. What I did find is that they have quite a bit of cultural arts, and so they do a lot of beadwork and things like that. One of the sad things that I found is that their language is endangered, and there's only 50 members who currently speak the Tonawand language fluently. I couldn't find out if that was actually the Tonawand language or if that was Seneca as a whole, but either way I found that to be pretty interesting too, that there was only 50 members who can still speak fluently. I was able to find a lot of information on the National Park Service. The Seneca Nation of Indians has a website, and that had a lot of information about their culture and history. There were multiple different leaders besides just Eli that they highlighted on that website. So there's a lot more information that you can get if you go to the Seneca Nation of Indians website. A lot about their culture. You can see some of the pictures of the roundhouses that I couldn't, or the longhouses rather, that I couldn't get to copy over so that I could show on this slideshow. The Tonawand Nation doesn't have as much information available. Like I said, it's considerably smaller, but they did have a historical society, which shows a lot of their art. And I thought that that was a good place to look for some of it. Again, I couldn't pull it over into this slide. It looks like it might be copyrighted, but the Native Heritage Project also had some information that I was able to pull into this report. To wrap up, ElyParker had a fascinating life that encompassed much more than I could probably represent in this brief presentation. But I encourage you to learn more about him and the Seneca and Tonawand tribes of New York. It was really fascinating to hear about how they came up and their interactions with whites. Eli's family was very open to him becoming a part of, basically, of the white man's world, and he sort of straddled that between his Native American and trying to fit in the white world, and he really struggled with it over the course of his life. So I would really encourage you to learn more about him. Thanks.